What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, taking a look at something I've never played before, but a deck that I've wanted to play for such a long time, and that is Magical Musketeers. I'm just going to go over, a handful of replays, and I had a lot of fun. One, playing this deck, but also just kind of playing casual. Haven't played in a long time, it feels like. So it's nice to kind of see some other decks that exist out there. It can get so easy to like hone in on just, especially a tier 0 format, when Yu-Gi-Oh can be fun outside of those top decks, obviously. So a virtual board that uses Power Tool Braver Dragon, pretty cool. Unfortunately, it's just not a good. There's not enough good like equip spells, so it's kind of sucky. And he does negate there, but I can go into the battle phase and go into Raigeki, getting rid of all of his monsters, and then just kind of going into this regular kind of number 39 play, which is pretty decent, to be able to do this. So the thing that's interesting is you can't activate or you can't summon other monsters from the extra deck to turn this to summon, but you can still like summon it, meaning you can go for the quick effect and then still use number 99 during your opponent's turn because, earlier in the turn I did use Magical Musketeer Max. And so I couldn't, summon off of number 99, but it's still out there. So it's kind of an interesting, a lot of like cards that restrict you in the sense that number 99 does is like for the entire turn. Like if you've already special summoned another type, you can't do it. But in this case, you can just, use the quick effect after that. I mean, you don't get both monsters out as fast as possible, but you still get like a really solid form of interruption, during your opponent's turn. And then, more than likely, Max will have given you a bunch of advantage anyways. So it'll kind of equal out in the end. This is kind of a weird take on Magical Musketeers, obviously, but I think it does work. So the one thing is, obviously, this is a blind going second deck. Mostly because all the Magical Musketeer cards are going second cards. Except like maybe one or something like that. But, Max is like, that's the center, the focal point of the entire deck. You want to be able to draw or like add 3 or special summon 3 cards, like, from your deck. And take advantage of everything that you have. And there's just so many good going second cards that like work so good with the Magical Musketeer stuff. Raigeki, you can just activate it in one of these cards' columns and just get to do so much stuff, which is just really cool. Look at all these 4s out here. This is kind of a unique deck. It's not like the Water XYZ, whether you have access to like really powerful extra deck monsters. No, like totally awesome, but there are still plenty of generic rank 4s, like Tornado Dragon's a really solid example of cards that do have plenty of use. Casper's kind of a weird one in this deck, considering it's a level 3. There just isn't another good 4. That's the problem. I do play another one that is the 4, but I only play it at 1 of at this point. I kind of want to take this card away, but I don't know. The fact that you get to add card to your hand and then go into Max and add more cards, meaning that it doesn't really matter to 3 at that point, is pretty good. But I guess it just kind of depends on how you look at it. I'm still testing around. This is kind of like my first build of the deck, but clearly pretty cool for Magical Musketeers that you can do this. I don't really know how other people are playing the deck, but I think this is okay. So I was actually playing around Quaking Mirror Force. You really truly never know when you're playing casual. Might as well play it as safe as possible. Then I used my own Forbidden Chalice to get over that kind of that battle barrier, which I thought was pretty smart. And I kept this in attack position in case it was like actual just regular Mirror Force because it can't be destroyed by card effects. All the other cards in attack position, like I was fine with losing, keeping all of my negates out there. It didn't matter, but it's fun to think about those kinds of things, especially in casual where things are a little more fluky, if you will. I'll show a couple against this flip deck. It is Prediction Princess, and yes, Morphing Jar number 2 is off the ban list, so a couple of those there. Certainly something you'd probably see, in this kind of setting. It's fun. We'll see if I'm able to deal with it. Raigeki is just so good. Honestly, the card is good. There's really not that many, there's not too many Omni Negates running around, and it just works so good with these cards, You just normal summon a Magical Musketeer, activate Raigeki, and get a bunch of effects off. So this is the other 4 I was talking about, and yeah, there just needs to be one more 4 that does something. And look at that, a +4 off of Magical Musketeer Max. You can't complain too much, obviously, about that. That is just very good. That's what makes this deck playable, really. just the ability to plus so much. So I have two forms of, well, I have one form of interruption during my opponent's turn, but I did get to use all 4 of those cards that I had used before and get rid of his graveyard. You know, of course, the main idea behind playing the Dancing Needle is to banish, you know, your opponent's, what's it called, tier limit cards, which is pretty cool. That's like the main application, but you know, your opponent, most decks now in Yu-Gi-Oh use the graveyard in some form or fashion, so it's good to be able to banish those cards. Here is the other duel, and then I'll go through the other ones after that. Nothing too crazy. Parallel Exceed is just such a good card in this deck because max points down. So this is looking pretty decent. So he's going to be able to get Crawler, but yeah, the combination of these two is going to be just a little too much for my opponent. And then, you know, you can also run cards like Evenly Matched. Fortunately, can't really activate it, you know, with the Magical Musketeer cards, but it is just so devastating. There's so many cards that you can activate easily. It doesn't really matter. Bringing cards out. This is going to be able to bring it back at some point. All I have to do is activate Desperado, which is what I do right here. Yeah, my opponent scoops. So I don't really know like the main lines of play. I just think there's like significantly better things that I can do, but you can see the potential of the deck, you know, in some of these replays. Definitely a high ceiling and just something that's cool. Like the main weaknesses of these Utopia decks is that they're never good going second, and obviously Magical Musketeers is like that is what they do. This is a duel against Amazonas, and I remember one time I made a video when these cards were like announced or something, and I was like, man, these cards are so bad. I went over every card in the archetype, and the comments were just, I think it's my most disliked video on my entire YouTube channel. Apparently the Amazonas community is strong, so you can't you gotta be pretty careful around them best that you can. Utopic Sage is pretty cool. I probably should have used Desperado right there, because I think I don't know actually what I do. Yeah, see, if I was going to destroy that anyways, because I think when I destroy one by battle, we get the special one from the deck, I should have used Desperado to get an extra body off of Starfire. It's just a bad play. I peeped his hand before, so I knew that he had the Dark Hole, and I attacked into the monster because I knew the other card was the Fusion, right? And if he doesn't have any, whatever he gets off the top, I know he's going to have at most one monster and then this. So he basically can't fusion summon as far as I know. So I have all the answers there with number 38. And then I get another body, you know, during my opponent's turn. And it's all just kind of pretty good right there. This is Amazonas again. These cards just don't do anything. They're bad. Amazonas cards are bad. I think this card got super censored in the TCG. In any case, he's got a bunch of back row that don't really do anything. They're just battle-related effects. Although, to be fair, it's kind of unfortunate for him that I'm playing a going second deck, and that's kind of like what his deck is. So he doesn't really have any plays going first, but you kind of have to because you play trap cards. This deck. So I get to summon 3 from the deck, and I have a bunch of just pluses already. It's so wild. Bring something out. He's going to bring out this Pendulum monster, but I can pretty much just go into all my plays. I still have a negate for this. This card is just really, really good. Just an Omni negate for spells and trap cards. And I can just go ahead and get rid of it. He's going to try to activate it. I will negate there. And then I have the answer, you know, for his other Pendulum, which is kind of like something that, I guess it does something, you know, for the deck. He has not activated monster effects, though, which is kind of unfortunate. So Triple Tactical Talents was not online. Giving him a real opportunity here. I know the only way this deck plays at all or is able to do anything is if they can activate Polymerization. So at least I have a negate for that, meaning I don't really know what his fusion monsters do necessarily. I guess I'll find out soon. He's going to go for the battle phase. I guess he can't actually use anything. You know, this is going to get protected by battle. You know, his monsters can't be destroyed by battle, but that's fine. He can just keep taking damage here. You know, Hope Harbinger is not a once per turn, which is kind of wild. Did not know that until, I guess I just didn't remember. It doesn't come up all that often, but here we are. And he does finally go for the Polymerization, but the Amazonas fusions don't really do anything. And I top deck Galaxy Cyclone, which is pretty cool. Bunch of monsters. I get another one out. Cyclone, and then I have Raigeki. Just a whole laundry list of things, that I can activate here. There's nothing really much that he can do. I'm going to show a match against Psyframes. Really, always like one of the most fun decks to duel against. I always say that it's not hard, but you have to be careful, or else you can lose. Like, it can start snowballing pretty good, especially like as long as you can stop the field spell. The deck doesn't really do anything at the end of the day. I try to go for the Harpy's Feather Duster. I have to stop the field spell from going off, because then when he brings those bodies out, he can just synchro summon, and then it's like really hard to kind of stop the deck from playing at that point. So all that happens is this gets banished. I thought for sure I got rid of 2 of his Psyframe drivers and activate Pot of Prosperity before. Like, he surely banished his other copy, but no. He does still have one out there. And at this point, I just kind of have to play it safe. I know there's one that stops the battle phase, so I'm just not going to commit anything too crazy at the moment. There's no real need to, because he has no presence, especially when he has the field spell out there. I just have to do anything in my power, to kind of stop that. If this deck is ever good, like, it's going to be because of this card. Really, really crazy. Banishes a card, during each turn, and then if your opponent gets rid of it, it gets to add a card. I don't know if there's ever going to be a new Psyframe support, but I guess we'll have to see. And finally, I got rid of his last Psyframe driver, so I don't think he can actually activate any of these anymore. Super unfortunately, I don't have anything. Galaxy Cyclone coming in clutch here. Card's very, very good. Especially in this format right now. There's just a lot of spells and traps. It's kind of like a more balanced Yu-Gi-Oh game. For such a long time, it was like, if you're not playing like 90% monsters, you're not really going to do anything. And I think the script has certainly flipped. Spells and trap cards are very, very good right now. So like I said, yeah, that continuous spell actually does banish from the graveyard to add. I think it's except the turn that it was sent there, which is kind of unfortunate. But I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Because Psyframes play during your opponent's turn, so fair enough. So I get to look at my opponent's extra deck here, and he's going to go ahead and, chain the Hopier going into Omega. Nah, not really a problem. I already have enough gas, to kind of get me through what I'm looking for here. I'm going to bring something out from the deck. That's Starfire. And then I can bring this out, go through my regular kind of lines of play. Still have that negate too for whatever that set card is. Actually, I'm not going to need it. You don't really need the graveyard in this deck like at all, which is pretty nice, I guess. And then I can just start playing. So I did send back the Gear Gamma earlier with the triple tactical talents. So like his chances of drawing it off the top obviously are very low. I knew actually too that he had the monster negate one, or not the monster negate, the battle negate one in his hand. So I kind of play this a little slow. He tries to go for Metaverse. I'm obviously going to negate that. And I'm going to kind of, okay, he's going to activate Called by the Grave. That's not going to do anything. And now I have Hope Harbinger. All I needed, because I used the negate before in that turn, was just to wait one more to end this, because I'm just going to go ahead and go for battle. And I had the monster negate for it, meaning that there's just nothing you can do. I think maybe I have one more. I think it was like a Morphing Jar one. So this is just kind of like a silly bonus, I guess. Another one of those, the new Cyber Jar that just came out. He does go for, he's playing Sacred Beast, so he goes for card destruction. Don't really see that too often, but yeah, maybe not the worst tech choice in the world, especially if you can send this to the graveyard. You get to add it back with the continuous spell, so that's kind of funny. So I'm going to go and attempt to destroy this Cerulean Skyfire, because I wanted to use this Cosmic Cyclone, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I can go for Max. He's going to negate the summon. I get a free special summon there, so I kind of play that pretty cool. And, Excitation. I was going to bait out the negate. Does this target cards? It's interesting. I don't know. I for some reason, I thought that his Haman would not be there. But there it is, Cyber Jar. I'm going to go ahead and look at the top 3 cards. This is going to help me summon back from the graveyard. It can actually target itself, which is really, really nice. I'm just trying to protect myself from the continuous spell, and then, yeah, I was not expecting that, obviously. But this entire deck is just level 4 monsters. Level 4 or lower monsters, meaning that I'm going to get a lot of advantage off the top. So I can just, straight up go full combo now off of this with a bunch of cards in my hand, including Triple Tactical Talents, which is online. I'll probably take a look at his hand, but he really doesn't have anything, despite adding all of those cards. And then Dark Beckoning Beast, of course, isn't doing anything either. Just funny to see that resolve in 2022, how like chaotic it is. But yeah, that is my first ever look at Magical Musketeers. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Then that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.